I love the language. I'm hearing a lot of word around collaboration and certainly opportunity. Is that mindset of yours derived from your upbringing? Have you always been the opportunist, and has that been a part of Brad?
Yeah, I like to think so. I hope that I have a reputation on this campus of being collaborative. I certainly respect and admire all the faculty and staff and the great work they do, and recognize the fact that they're experts in their fields. And so I like to come into meetings knowing that I'm not the smartest in the room, and I like that because I don't feel like I'm not smart. So having people that I can rely on to help generate and refine ideas, I really enjoy that kind of energy of the back and forth. And so, and I've seen it time and time again that the most successful projects on this campus, in this community, my work within the state higher education system.
Welcome to the Kooler Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Kuehlhorn, and I'm excited to have you join me as I interview community members and business leaders from the communities in which I live, work, and serve through my business Kooler Garage Doors. We're going to bring you highlights on characters in our communities. Why? Because community matters, and I want to know more about who is behind our business and leadership in order to understand and support the community fabric that our relationships make up. And collectively, we can build stronger communities that support our lifestyles, our youth, and our health.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kooler Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Kuehlhorn, and today I have Brad Baca, Western Colorado University's president. How are you doing, Brad?
I'm doing great today, Matthew. How are you?
I'm doing so good. Where is your office located on campus?
I'm in Taylor Hall, kind of the old main, the building that was first constructed, I think, in 1911. So I'm on the third floor.
Wonderful.
I have a great view out to the Rail Jam side. If you all had a chance to view that last week, it was pretty amazing. So
yeah, it sounded like a great event. A lot of energy in that one.
For sure.
Brad, I'm curious, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Trinidad, Colorado. Okay. So I'm probably a rare Colorado native. I was born in Greeley, but I grew up mainly in Trinidad. It was it's a wonderful place, much like Gunnison, kind of small, rural, tight-knit community, and really developed a love for smaller towns, smaller communities, and kind of what they can provide in terms of lifestyle.
Yeah, I love that. And what's the kind of short, concise story of how this valley found you, and how'd you end up in Gunnison?
Yeah. Well, so my grandparents lived in Poncha Springs, and we'd visit them frequently, and we had relatives over in Gunnison. So as a kid, it wasn't uncommon for us to hop in the car and drive over the hill and visit relatives here. So I knew of Gunnison and really liked kind of the character of the community growing up. And so one of my first jobs as a professional was working for the community college system office. And so that really allowed me to have exposure to a number of higher ed institutions. And so I got to know a little bit more about Western, and I was fortunate that a job opened up here in 2002 as a vice president, and I applied, and I was fortunate enough to get the job. And so I guess the rest is history, but it was very intentional. I was like, but this is a place where I want to be. My first son was about to be born, didn't want to raise him in Denver, and said, let's make the move. So it was great.
Hey everybody, this is Luke from Kooler Garage Doors. Just want to take a quick second to talk about our sponsor, Sommar Garage Door Openers. In our opinion, Sommars are the highest quality product on the market today. We recommend them for all of our residential garage door installs because of the variety of features they include, such as Wi-Fi connectivity and safety features such as a fixed chain, which moves along a secure rail to ensure your garage door opens quietly and safely. Click on the link in the description to learn more about Sommar garage door openers.
Has higher ed always been on your kind of aims, your targets?
Yeah, I kind of stumbled on it by accident, to be honest. My first job was working in the governor's office, Governor Roy Romer, and my boss at the time, it was kind of in the midst of an administrative transition. He moved to the community college system office, and I had actually went and started working for K-12 education. And then he called me up one day and said, "Hey, I've got a budget director job over here. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, I'd love to get into higher education." And so, yeah, the passion, though, particularly for accessibility and serving student populations that have traditionally been underrepresented has always been something I've cared deeply about. Myself, I'm a first-generation college graduate of Hispanic descent, and so it means a lot for me to be able to serve in this role and to be able to hopefully affect the ability for students across the state of Colorado to know that Western is a place that is achievable for them financially and also academically.
Wonderful. That's the thread that I always enjoy hitting on in conversations, is seeing, where people's context kind of drives what they have going on today. And so that first generation graduate is meaning something. And now that you sit in the role today, I can see where that plays. And I love seeing those. Love seeing the context.
Well, thanks, Matt. And yeah, it's important. We're developing a new strategic plan here on campus, and one of our fundamental goals is improving affordability and access. And a couple of things that we're working on that, or we'll be working on in that realm, is one is certainly just growing scholarship support through donor engagement. And one of the programs I'm actually really excited about is a concept called the Gunnison Valley Promise, in which any high school graduate in the Gunnison Valley can attend Western tuition free. I think it's not just something that I think can open up doors for students who may not see higher education as a part of their pathway, but I also think it's an important economic development tool for us because, as you know, Matt, it's harder and harder to live in this valley. And if we could take one of those financial burdens off families in terms of saying, "Hey, we got your higher education covered," or at least a significant chunk of that, I think that might hopefully give them the confidence to be able to say, "Yeah, I can make this work in this valley." And so yeah, that's a project I really hope to really energize and get going here in the next year or so.
Awesome. So you're kind of leading me, which is wonderful, because one of my questions is, what are you excited about as we go forward? So I'm hearing work on a strategic plan. You've been in your role now, I believe, over 100 days. And I've already gotten wind of people enjoying the energy and the new leadership that's in there. So kudos to you. We're working on the strategic plan. I'm hearing a lot around affordability, economic development. I think, having the university in Gunnison is an amazing resource that may still sometimes be underrated a little bit. I'm interested from your perspective, how might the community, businesses, and Western collaborate even more?
Oh, I really want to spend a lot of time engaging in that conversation because, as you said, I think people really appreciate the role that we play as kind of an economic anchor, as a cultural anchor in this valley. I think there's still a lot more that we can do as a community. And having been here for 20 years, I've seen opportunities that we probably missed as a community in terms of partnership that might have worked. So, so as I think about things, we're already starting to have conversations with some other key entities within the valley, and a good example of that is Gunnison Valley Health. They've been a tremendous partner of ours for the last 5 years or so, and we're looking to partner further. We just submitted a grant application to the state of Colorado to receive some planning dollars to develop a nursing program, which, as you may know, nursing shortages across the nation, across the state, are substantive, and in this valley, it's probably even more elevated in terms of the need. And so looking to work closely with the Gunnison Valley Health to develop a program that really fits their needs. And so that's one program. Housing, I think there's a ton of opportunity for us to work closely as a community on addressing some of the housing issues, because it affects all of us. And so, we're looking at, again, some more partnerships with Gunnison Valley Health about perhaps building some faculty, staff, and some of their professional staff housing on our campus. I've engaged with the county commissioners on some discussion about, deeding some of Western's land over to them to do some more affordable or workforce housing on our property. And so I'm excited about the opportunities of Gunnison Rising and how that might help kind of expand our footprint and give us, as a community, and give us more space to be able to do that. So, so housing, and I think just the opportunity for kind of more in-depth, engaged academic programming that extends out into the community, whether that's behavioral health. Had a great conversation just a couple days ago with Sonia Chavez, who is the general manager of the Gunnison, Upper Gunnison Water Conservation District, and about how, we should convene a group of public land agencies in Western to talk about issues of sustainability, about forestry. I've just there's so many opportunities, and I want to try to turn over as many as I can to make sure that we're not just serving our students, which is critical, and their desires and their needs, but also the community and how we can make this community stronger, more resilient, and better off economically.
Yeah. I love the language. I'm hearing a lot of word around collaboration and certainly opportunity. Is that mindset of yours derived from your upbringing? Have you always been the opportunist, and has that been a part of Brad?
Yeah, I like to think so. I hope that I have a reputation on this campus of being collaborative. I certainly respect and admire all the faculty and staff and the great work they do, and recognize the fact that they're experts in their fields. And so I like to come into meetings knowing that I'm not the smartest in the room, and I like that because I don't feel like I'm not smart. So having people that I can rely on to help generate and refine ideas, I really enjoy that kind of energy of the back and forth. And so, and I've seen it time and time again that the most successful projects on this campus, in this community, my work within the state higher education system, the most successful projects are those that are done through collaboration. I think it energizes people to want to support projects that they feel impact a broader community, a broader set of institutions. And so yeah, I think it's part of my DNA.
Yeah. I think that collaboration and reducing oneself to not being the smartest person in the room, which is one of my life lessons, is where possibility, opens up. And
absolutely,
the realm that, things get creative that one hasn't even thought about is that possibility. And
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So
Did I read recently that there is going to be some motion in the Ohio Street project? This is like a project that I've heard about for a number of years, and maybe a way to further connect Western and the campus to the city of Gunnison and its own main artery. Is that getting some legs and having some motion done on it?
Matt, I haven't checked in on that in a while, so I don't know, but I will say that I do believe that some connectivity to downtown Gunnison from the institution is a critical feature, and to be able to make an easy ability for students to kind of move back and forth, I think will be important to, enhance that connectivity and enhance their involvement in the businesses and the activities of downtown Gunnison. And so I hope it's moving forward. But I haven't heard. And so, would love to continue to explore. I know there's some leadership transition right now in the city. And so hopefully, we'll get a new city manager soon, and look forward to kind of digging in and working with that individual to really develop that town relationship.
Yeah, I'd agree. Having that connection would add just more connectivity, more collaboration. I mean, I've heard it in the past. We're a town with a university in it, not necessarily a university town, and finding some balance and fine line there would make a lot of sense.
Yes.
Brad, what would you like people to know about Western that we may not already know?
Wow, that's a bit of a hard question, Matt, because I mean we've been such a fundamental piece of this community for what has it been now, 110 years. It's hard for me to imagine that people don't know as much about the university as I would hope they would. But the one thing that I do find fascinating is, and I was just talking to some legislative committees about this, is just the sheer proportionality that Western represents in terms of population within this city. I think that the last time I looked at the numbers, when you look at our students, our faculty and staff, we represent over 30% of Gunnison's population.
Wow.
And that is, I think, quite unique. And I think it's a good reminder for all of us that as the institution, as Western goes, the community goes. And so kind of gets back to that I think that point you made earlier, that, sometimes we have to be mindful about and think about how can we support Western to be better, to do better, because if we can, it's going to help our community in general. And so I think that's an interesting factoid that perhaps not everybody fully understands or appreciates. But other than that, I hope people know all the things that we offer in terms of activities to engage with the campus. But I look forward to having more conversations with community members to see, where we're perhaps not hitting where we should be, and if there's opportunities for us to better engage, to better serve our community. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, that's a significant stat, 30%.
Yeah.
That is really, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
What gets you up in the morning?
What I tell people in my first 7 months or so that I've been on the job, one of the couple things that has really energized me and really made me that I have never done before, like I'm doing now, is the engagement with students.
Good.
And building relationships with them, hearing their stories, how they got here, hearing their stories about how things are going, what's going well, what's going not so well. And it's been wonderful to kind of have that level of interaction with students that I should have done more when I was in other roles, but I really believe it's incumbent on me in this role to get out there and meet with the students. One of my mentors told me once that once I got this job, he told me, hey, and he was a university president, that, you need to get out. You need to talk to the people that you're serving, because you can't lead an organization. You can't lead a university if you don't know what's on their hearts and minds. And so getting out and engaging with the student population has been a really fulfilling part of this job that I've really enjoyed. And it helps get me up in the morning for sure.
I love that.
To know that I might have an opportunity to interact and maybe make a difference, or let somebody know that we appreciate them being here and that we're here to support them and their growth.
Yeah, I love that. For folks that are listening, this goes into Grand Junction, so there's Mesa down there, which can be a fun rival in sporting events, and throughout our own community. You alluded to folks knowing how to engage and interact with campus and events. Is that through athletics? I mean, for somebody listening that wants to engage maybe further, what are some of those opportunities top of mind? Is it athletic events? And certainly those are fun, and maybe some recitals and that kind of stuff. And
I think it spans the gamut, from, yes, athletic events for sure. A good way to engage. All the cultural activities that we offer too, whether it's concerts and music and choir, or our theater company. I just went last Friday to a wonderful production of Hamlet by our theater faculty and students, and I think also like the Rail Jam. That was a great community event. It brought up a lot of people from the high schools. I noticed my own kids brought their friends down from CB or from Gunnison, and they all kind of went to watch that. And so, and then I think that the academic programming through our Center of Learning and Innovation, which is kind of our extended studies branch, there's we're still kind of developing how that program can really provide some opportunities for our community to engage academically, either in a variety of ways. And so that's another great way to engage with us, is to look into that as well.
I love that. And I would imagine the best place to track events is through the website and maybe social media.
Yeah, absolutely. We're pretty active on social media. We do have a calendar on our website, and try to work to make sure it's as populated as we can make it. So.
Yeah, beautiful. As we wrap up this short conversation, Brad, I'm curious. I know it's a number of months in, and to what is set up to hopefully be a long and steady tenure. Do you have a hope or a vision for legacy and kind of what you intend to build an archetype and potentially leave as the fingerprints of Brad Baca and Western?
Been thinking a lot about that. One of the things I conveyed to the campus community this fall as we started off the academic year is that what I really want to achieve when the time is over, I want us to be able to look back as a community and know that the students we're educating today are going to be our storytellers of tomorrow. They're going to be our ambassadors out in the wider world. And I want them to be able to say three things consistently. Number one, that Western prepared them for a successful career. The second thing, that Western equipped them to make choices based off of their values and to really serve beyond. So it's not just about successful careers, but it's about fulfilling livelihoods, right? So they're making impacts in their communities and the world. And then the third thing is just generally that without, if it wasn't for Western, I wouldn't be here today, or where I wouldn't be where I'm at today. If students feel that way about their experience at Western, there's nothing that can stop us. And so that's, generally right now, that's kind of what I'm hoping we achieve as a campus, is that we can build that type of culture, that type of programming and service to our students, that they have that to say when they're done.
What I love about that is what I can say is a past student and an alumni, and as a storyteller, like, that's very true for me. I would not have completed college if it wasn't for my experience at Western back in late 1990s and 2000s, and beautiful.
Well, great. And I hear that a lot when I'm out there talking to alums, is that, Western made the difference, and they tend to zero in on a particular person, whether it's a professor or a staff member, who said, that person changed my life and made this whole experience transformational. So
that's
carrying
true.
On that tradition.
Yeah, I'll shout out to Dr. Barbara Klingman. She was my one person that brought me into experiential education. My life was changed ever since.
Nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
Great.
And I know there's a lot of capital improvements. Mountaineer Bowl is undergoing a facelift and a reconstruction, and it just seems like each year there's improvements to the campus, and just some. I mean, I think it's a gorgeous campus. And, kudos. I know that's a full teamwork and another collaborative effort to continue improving.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Beautiful.
Yeah, no, we do have some more projects on the horizon, and got some positive news out of the legislature this week to hopefully be able to get a couple projects funded for next year. So
Awesome. Brad, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your new leadership role. In closing, do you have any final thoughts?
I appreciate you spending time with me, Matt, and for all the community that's listening out there, I want them to know that, I'm here, I'm available, and looking forward to having conversations about how we can work better together to make Western the best it can be. So don't hesitate to reach out. And set up a time. I'd love to have a coffee or a chat about kind of your thoughts. So
Wonderful.
Let's do this.
Yeah, sounds great, Brad. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right. Thank you, Matt.